I'm Robin Ketelle, and up until June of this year, I was a nurse at the Memory and Aging Center here. I have experience in geriatric psychiatry and neurology, and this is a story about my early days. Being a dementia care nurse is, I think, a little bit of an accident of my upbringing. My mother was a nurse. I watched her polish her white shoes and iron her starched cap. So it was part of my life without much consciousness. And I didn't really, to be honest, know what it was that she did. But on her days off, I don't think she ever really had a day off, but this was sort of her nature. But on her days off, one of her jobs was to visit the elderly who couldn't come to church. They were called the sick and the shut-in. So on Sundays, after church, we would collect the altar flowers, and I was the youngest in my family, so I had very little say in what I was going to do, and I was taken along on these visits to the sick and the shut-in. Even as a young kid, it didn't bother me. I wasn't scared. I actually enjoyed it. My mother did a lot to smooth the interactions over with her social graces. She had a mission to deliver those flowers and visit the sick and the shut-in. And so that's what we did. And she taught me. I was very young, but I would sit on the couch and she'd visit with people. And they'd talk to her and they'd talk to me. It took some of the scariness away from illness for me. We would also take flowers to the people who were living in long-term care. They lived in the rest home, as we called it, or a nursing home. And so I was indoctrinated into being my mom's sidekick on these visits. It was never scary. It was fascinating. I loved being in other people's houses. And around the same time as that, I was captivated with animal behavior. I was drawn to Africa and African animals. And then I read a lot of books about this. I read the Born Free books, and then Jane Goodall when I was a little older, and Diane Fossey. It interested me that there were people who were observing behaviors. And also, as a family, we were all complete people watchers. So if we would go anywhere, being kind of introverted, we would finish talking to each other, and then we'd watch people. That was a recreational activity that we had. When I was in nursing school, I had a rotation in the psychiatric service, and I developed a great affection for the professor. I thought she was fantastic. Something about her really registered. She was brilliant. She was young and she was glamorous. She knew a lot about psychology, which I was interested in, and human behavior. All those things combined, and here I was on a geriatric psychiatry unit, and I thought, this is everything I could ever want. I felt comfortable in the environment. I could literally sit on the couch and talk to someone and learn their life story or understand about their suffering. It all came together for me in that unit.